Everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing a video. No, it's been a while since I've done a lot of content. This week I'll be doing a lot more than last week. I was just kind of taking a little break from the whole circus on here and on BitChute and everywhere. This video is about just public perception and PR, and it's not meant to be an endorsement of one person over another. I like neither one of these people all that much, honestly. But it seems like right now, when I read, and I guess this is kind of a video about how this guy has kind of replaced the other guy in regards to all the talk about the virus and stuff. So I think this point in time, Osterholm is kind of the replacement for Fauci because he's in the media way more now than Fauci was. I don't know what the messaging is supposed to be with that or what the intentions behind that was. I guess, they wanted a new face on everything, starting with the Biden administration. And Osterholm, I find problematic in many ways. I think he's, even if some of his predictions are true or whatever, the messaging is way more pessimistic with Osterholm than was with Fauci. As a controversial statement, because I don't like either one of them all that much in regards to what's going on with all this. And I can give you many examples. One example is that Osterholm talks about doing a nationwide lockdown for 5 weeks and all this stuff. Fauci really tried in his press conferences to say, maybe we'll have rolling lockdowns in various places. No nationwide lockdown, depending on, and maybe that was the Trump administration's messaging about the virus, was that it's going to be more piecemeal, and that creates more confusion, of course. But that's one example. Another example is just the basic public demeanor of Osterholm is way more pessimistic. He frowns more. He's more negative in a certain way than Fauci was. Fauci likes to smile. Someone could say that's because he's evil or whatever, but it's just don't like what the messaging is right now in the media. It's like, now we got to worry even more about these variants. It's like we don't know. Now with Fauci was so contradictory and hypocritical that some could say that he was full of shit, or if he was just didn't know the science, the science was evolving. People will say all sorts of stuff, and we don't. History will tell who was right about all this. I tend not to believe public figures when they make broad, sweeping pronouncements in general. However, like I said before, I think Fauci was way more optimistic than Osterholm, and I feel like that's a disservice to the public to have someone that's so pessimistic and doesn't have much, as much of a friendly vibe. I mean, as much as I hate the demagoguery and idol worship of Fauci that came out. I mean, they have had fucking Christmas ornaments with him on there. I think he, as a public figure, he was definitely more optimistic. I mean, I know I brought this up before and people don't like this whole thing about him, but I brought up the Tinder dating thing, and I still bring that up. He didn't, his messaging wasn't, it wasn't as pessimistic and just like dour as Osterholm is coming out with. It was like, well, you're taking this risk, and I wouldn't be surprised if Osterholm was just plain, I don't think I don't think either one shamed people. I think Birx actually did, as far as I know, but I think Fauci, sort of shamed people a little bit, but, in a lot of his pronouncements is like, you're taking this risk. This is your risk, and it was a little bit more open-ended than some of these pronouncements that Osterholm is making. So this is not about the actual, intentions of these administrations or the public health officials. It's more about, with regards to the public messaging. And I do not like the pessimistic messaging of Osterholm in comparison with Fauci. And I don't like Fauci, but the messaging was more optimistic. It was like, oh, we'll get back to normal eventually, blah, 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 blah. It's like, and then they kept making, moving the goalpost because things got worse or whatever, or perceived as worse, depending on who you believe. So yeah, I don't like Osterholm, his performance, and I think he's basically replaced Fauci as the media's face on the virus response. And that, I never thought I'd say that I like him. I would like someone worse than Fauci with regards to that. But Fauci at least had the optimism, the smile, the willingness to do these podcasts and stuff where he said a lot of contradictory stuff, which he would later, obviously contradict himself so many times on. And maybe, in a benefit, is Osterholm's always been doom and gloom. But, in a way, at least he's more consistent. But I just still don't like the messaging. I think we need more optimism from our people in power, even if Fauci was lying or contradictory numerous times on his own words. And maybe that's why they have Osterholm there now. It's like, well, we need someone, a consistent messaging. It's better to go with the pessimism. So, but those are just some thoughts, and that's all. Peace out.